Hey everyone, this is your favorite friend Jay, and today I have a great guest that I'm going to interview for our channel. I met Steven on Twitter, and let me tell you, I was so impressed when I learned more about him and about his musical career. So I am happy to talk to him right now to discuss his legacy and his contributions to the music world. Hello, Steven, how are you?
I'm real good, thank you.
Thank you so much. So let me tell you, now that I saw you're a music producer, you play on many instruments, you participated in many musical projects. At which age did you realize you wanted to be an artist and specifically a musician?
Well, I think it started when I was in high school. I played symphonic instruments, timpani, glockenspiel, type of symphonic instruments. And by being in a junior orchestra, I had the opportunity to travel around and go to different museums and play in different front of different people. And at some point, I decided, hey, I think I like to do this, make some money and travel and see the sights.
Okay, this is awesome. So, how did you get your start in the music industry? Because this sounds like it's so grandiose, and what you've accomplished so far is just a lot, really, working with many diverse artists and playing many instruments and even collaborating with tracks and stuff like that. How did you get your breakthrough, and how did it start?
Well, it was a strange thing. Right after I graduated from high school, I joined the musicians union. And in the musicians union, in the bottom of the basement, there would be all types of musicians down there. And a guy came down and said, "Hey, Easter, you got your tubs with your buddy?" I said, "Yes, sir." They said, "Well, they need you over here at the United Artists for a recording session. And you can read music, can't you?" I said, "Yes, sir." So they sent me over to a studio, and to my belief and to my surprise, there was the famous Victor Feldman there,
Wow.
along with the cap, along with the Captain and Tennille and Dennis Dragon. He was the MD, and we were recording commercials for Campbell Soup at the time. And Victor just took to me, said, "Yo, Easter, what are you doing for lunch?" I said, "Well, I'm not doing anything, Victor. What do you want to do?" He says, "Come along with me and let's go to 20th Century." So he had an MG, one of those little small little MGs with a convertible top, and we drove over to 20th Century. And much to my surprise, he took me to all these different sound stages. Neil Diamond was there, the Beach Boys, Chaka Khan and Rufus introduced me to all these fabulous musicians, and just made me feel part of the family. At the same time, Victor was also playing along with Steely Dan. So Steely Dan was rehearsing also there too. So I got a chance to hang out there. I actually had a chance to meet Jeff Porcaro, and it was just a fabulous time. It was a time where musicians could actually knock on the door of recording studios and record companies. They let you come in. You can sit down and talk, even let you play your music, and then they would say, "We'll get back to you," and you get the letter in the mail. Unfortunately, due to this, that, and the other thing, we didn't sign you at that time. But I found that it was just the opportunities were there. Probably they're still there at the same time they are now, but it was just a different time for music altogether. And by me being able to, I acquired that Donna Summer disco beat, and that gave me an opportunity to play with a lot of different people because I could really play that beat. Then I got into the reggae thing and jazz, and it just goes on.
Wow. So for me, I'm a big jazz fan. So I mean, the idea of being a jazz musician, what is the reality and what is the fame? Because for me, I look at, like B.B. King and I look at Coltrane and I look at all the great jazz legends and I see them with trumpets or I see them just singing their hearts out. And I feel like, wow, they must be living a glorious, unimagined life. So how is the reality of being, like a jazz reggae artist versus what the people perceive of such a thing?
Well, there is what I say are the real rock stars, the real rock musicians, they have a different lifestyle. But the jazz musicians, they may have a little more of a humble lifestyle. Uh, but you have to remember, and a lot of people don't realize that Coltrane and Miles Davis, a lot of them at that time, they were hooked on heroin.
Oh,
So uh, that made them have a different perception of music and life in general. And I don't want to judge anybody. I don't want
trust me.
anybody to judge me.
Yeah.
Um, but they created such inspirational music, even Jimi Hendrix, okay? Uh, that these are legends that will probably never be we'll never find these type of people ever again in our lifetime.
Yes.
So it's a different kind of lifestyle. While I haven't made millions in music, I've probably made some millions from real estate, and uh, you have to keep a perspective on what you're doing and what you can. You have to be prepared to give back.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do now, and that's why I was glad that we met on Twitter. And there's a lot of other people out there on Twitter that I'm trying my best to support and give an opportunity for whatever it is they want to promote. That's what I'm trying to do.
So what do you think the music of the past is different from now? Do you think it's because of the studio system control, or because maybe in the past artists were living a more culturally diverse and rich life? Like, why do you think we had those legends back then and we might not have it now?
Well, we see back then a lot different now. People can create music, and if they can afford a certain team of individuals, they can become hits. They can become wealthy. Back then, you had to put your instrument on your back, and you had to play the chilling circuit, and you had to go out there and be prepared to play any and every gig that there was, and hopefully your name would get out there if you were in a certain group of individuals, and you could have some success. Now, and I don't like to judge music because I believe every artist that's doing music is doing it as an art form that God gave them.
Yeah.
But however, there are different styles of music that may not be uh, likable by all. But I say that I think the difference is there are now, because of social media, you can have a team of people to assist you in your career. Maybe your music not be likable by all, but because of that team, it can push you into the forefront.
Yeah, you'll have popularity. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
what you
exactly.
mean. Okay, so
Mhm.
as a musician, you played in studios, you played on stage, you played in maybe small corners out of the world. Which experience was more fulfilling to you as an artist? Where do you feel like this is it? This is me. This is Steven.
Well, there's a few different times. When I was in this group called Jamun and we played, this is going back now. Now this is gonna put some dates. So some date is gonna be on me right now. When we played, we played the 1984 opening day of the Olympics. It was a reggae band I played in, and that was a fabulous time because all these musicians were from all over the world, and we're all playing in a big giant drum line, and it was just a fabulous opening. And I hadn't met that many different musicians from all over the world, various languages and cultures and parties, stuff, and all types of things like that. And that made me feel like was part of my what I want to say. I just felt like I was a part of something. At the same time, when I was on the road with Charlatan, rock and roll band up in Canada, I had opportunity to hang out with Stevie Wonder and Third
Oh,
World is a reggae group, and Jerry Doucette, and at that same time, Pat Benatar was all up there. We were all at the Commodore Ballroom, and it was just to find myself in these type of situations. My friends call me the uh, uh, Forrest Gump of music because you know how Forrest Gump he was always in the right place at the right time. I guess that was like me, you know. One minute I would be in the States, next minute I was in Thailand, next minute I was in Amsterdam, Brussels, Germany, and always in the right place so at the right time, I guess. So I feel very fulfilled by playing music. It's done a lot for me and overall for my well-being.
Okay, so me, I'm a poet. So I know exactly, and I've been acting on the side, So I know exactly what it's like to be immersed in a certain role or writing the poem and what it does to me as an artist. But when you're there with the instrument or when you're playing, how does it feel? Like, do you feel like you're in a trance? How does it affect you as a person? Like, we're artists, it's different for us, the way we perceive the world, the way we put ourselves out there in the world. How does it feel to be you? Because this is what I want to know as a curious person, a writer who wants to know everything about the world.
Well, having played uh, from backyard barbecues to uh, stadiums, 50,000 people, just the idea that there are those people that are there that want to see you perform, want to see you do what you do, and are clapping and sometimes booing. It happens to happen like that sometimes, and just the fact that you were there giving them all that you can, and they giving it back to you, it's a beautiful feeling. Even when you're being booed and said, "Yankee, go home," when we was in Canada. Um, then they sent me out there on the stage by myself to do my drum solo. And I just took a page from John Bonham and started doing all these all types of solos and Neil Peart, the whole deal. And then this crowd of people who was booing me all of a sudden are clapping and saying more, more, more. It's a feeling that I don't know. It just rises you up and you walk away drenched in sweat, but at the same time you think to yourself, the world is good. Music is good. Music has a way to slice away the dirt and the grime that we all have to go through. I call it the hamster wheel that we all are on, just treading around, hoping that things will work out to our favor. And I just say, uh, in general, I just want to say to everyone out there, take more time to smell the flowers. Take more time to listen to that little bird that is chirping in your tree. Because life is short, and we all get caught up in the grind of survival, and sometimes we forget that things are good out there.
And life is beautiful. You're absolutely correct. So, which of those,
Absolutely.
yeah, which of those amazing artists that you saw on the road and, like you met on your musical career had the most impact on you, whether personally or as an artistry? Like, which one of them you feel like to this day you cannot forget this person?
Well, a great friend of mine and became my mentor. I actually became his roadie on the road. Was a world-class drummer by the name of Harvey Mason Sr. Harvey played Shaka Khan, Quincy Jones, Foreplay, along with uh, a lot of other great musicians. He's like a world-class drummer, and I actually worked for a company in which actually sent me on the road with him as his roadie, setting up his equipment. And this was back in the '80s, and we just had a great bond. And then he became a mentor, showing me different routes to take for my music. And then just recently, there's another gentleman that I actually met on Twitter that has had a very big influence in my life. That's Gary Bryant. Uh, 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 he's mentored me and trying to show me in different routes to take as far as the radio and promotion and just how to just try to be a better person all around. And then along with Victor Feldman, uh, um, you know, Paul Taylor, people like this have influenced me. Kitty Leroy, these various people have given me different inspirations at different times. Uh, Joe Albright, these people have stepped into my life. Pam Grier, Cheryl Underwood, these people have stepped into my life and given me opportunities and given me knowledge and foresight that I could pass on to others. I just want to thank them.
Wow, this is so inspiring, Stephen. What I want to know from you is life on the road to us outsiders is always this amazing tour bus, and people are just living the life and going out and being rock stars or being whatever. But are there scary or interesting or funny, ridiculous moments that you encountered while touring on the road?
Well, you see, I want to clip this one misconception that a lot of people have, and that is when you're on the road and you're traveling, this is still a business.
Yeah,
And you can have a lot of fun and get involved with women, and some people actually get involved with other types of substances and what have you. But
yeah.
at the end of the day, if you don't do your job, they will fire you. They will get someone else to replace you. So I learned that while there's all work and and no play makes for Steve a dull boy, Steve had to know that, hey man, you get out here and get stupid, they will replace you. But one scary thing that I remember the most was when I was in Canada and I found out that Gary Newman needed a drummer and a keyboard player. So the keyboard player, myself from the Charlatan band, we went to this place, this little bitty airplane. It was called a jumper, and we got in this little plane. It was like I was like a flying shoebox. It was
Whoa.
just the pilot, myself, and the guy in the back like this, and the plane went straight up in the air. And then when we got way up to the top, turned off the engine, and man, we almost peed. We were sitting there, we were stunned. We couldn't believe that this guy turned off the engine. And my friend was in the back. He was doing all his Hail Marys and everything. And and what happens is that the current takes the plane and brings it all the way over to from Vancouver Island all back over to Canada. And boy, when we got off the plane, we both were hopped on we were kissing the ground. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh
But
my.
that was that's probably one of the scariest things I ever had to encounter. And then one time when we were on the road, we had rented this tour bus, and it slid off the slide of the side of the road. I think that was in Missoula, Montana, and that was pretty scary.
Okay, so I heard that you have had health issues and music has helped you to heal or to be better. Like, would you tell me, please, what is the effect of music on you at your darkest times and how it would help you to heal or to be in tune with your surroundings, even at a moment of pain or hardship?
I'm gonna try to talk to you about this without becoming emotional.
Oh my
Uh,
God. I'm here for you.
thank you so very much. The hardest thing I think for a musician or anyone is when someone tells you, even more so than cancer, is when I lost my sight. I actually went blind,
Oh,
and I had to learn how to read Braille. I know how to read Braille. I used to have a CNI dog. I know how to tap. I even had a job where I worked for a film company where back in the day, there were these film canisters that they gave the jobs to a lot of blind people because it was by touch only. You could go inside the can, load the film and take it out. And it was all dark inside the dark room and everything. And it was by touch only. And losing my sight gave me another perception. Uh, it gave me a insight into the spiritual side of me, and it opened up my eyes to a lot of things that were happening in the world. Made me a little bit of advocate towards the injustice that you saw that we find every day in this world. I'm a constant believer in we have to continue to promote the dream, uh, and it opened up my eyes to what was good and what was bad. And I'm thankful for the fact that my sight came back and it just put me on a different road, a different path altogether.
Wow. This is so inspirational, Stephen. Thank you. And we're so happy that you're here with us. You were so happy that you still have the drive and you're inspiring everyone, myself included. So, on a lighter tone,
Well,
I
thank
hear
you.
you're a kite surfer or a kite flyer. Can you tell me about this hobby and how it
Oh,
came?
the the kites, it has to do with when I was with my good friend Harry Perry. He's a famous icon from Venice Beach, and we used to always hang out together, and we still do. And then I got into one day I found this kite and I took it to the beach and I started flying it. A lot of good wind and everything, and people started coming up to me and they were saying, "Hey man, nice kite." In fact, the kite I still have it. I have two of them now. The kite I had was a replica of the shuttle, and people would come up to me and they said, "Man, that's a nice kite." And I'd offer it to them. I said, "You want to fly the kite?" And they would be flying the kite. Then they might have had their kids with them or something, and I'd offer them. They'd all fly the kite, and I'd tell the dad, "You need to get a kite. Your little boy likes the kite." And next thing you know, I'd see him at the beach a couple weeks later, and they'd be out there with a kite. They'd be flying the kite. "Oh man, thank you so very much. This has really made our lives better and what have you." And I just tell people, it can be taken either way, but when you tell somebody, instead of getting mad, just tell them, go fly a kite. That's the only way I know to put it. Instead of hollering and screaming, just say, hey, guess what? Go fly a kite. And just leave it like that.
Go fly a kite. This is a great call to the world. And I hope we can all fly our own kites out
Hey,
there.
that's right. That's right.
Definitely. I'm gonna fly my kite soon. Thank you,
Oh,
Stephen.
beautiful. That's excellent. I'm glad
Okay.
I could do. I'm glad I could have a little inspiration for those who you know, we're living in a time where, the whole world it seems like it's upside down.
Yeah,
You agree with me?
definitely.
And we are forgetting that uh, we're all God's creatures, His creations, regardless of how you think, whatever religion might be. And we have to get back to trying to be civil. A lot of times on Twitter and social media in general, a lot of people are just angry and they need something else in their lives. And maybe flying a kite might be a start.
Maybe we should all fly a kite. Definitely. Okay, so my last question for you is, what do you dream or want to do? Like, do you want to fly hundreds of kites? Do you want to make something out of nowhere? Do you want to create sounds out of the surroundings? Like, what does Steven want to do for the future?
Well, I want to support people in their dreams. I want to be the dream maker, the new dream maker. Okay. I want to not only do that, I'm also working on a movie that I'm going to be producing and acting in. A lot of people know me also from Seinfeld. I was on an episode of Seinfeld when Kramer came down the street. He was dressed up like a pimp, and that guy he came up to, that was me.
Oh la
We
la.
have over 97 million views on on YouTube. But where's my money, YouTube? That's what I want to know. I'm just making a joke. But I'm working on a film. Um, I'm also doing the soundtrack for it. And it's interesting that you should say that. I'm the guy that goes out and finds an old bumper in the middle of the road or a bicycle frame or something like that. And I take it back to my house and I use different mallets on it and create sounds. I'm the
See?
guy who that has to do with. uh, my desire to create music going way back when I was when I had songs in those movies, Assault of the Killer Bimbos and Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and those song in those movies. My songs were all in those, and I guess I'm going to end up starting my own record company. I think that's what. What do you think? Good idea?
Great idea. Whatever you can do, you just go there because you're creative. And whatever you're putting into the universe is going to reciprocate into hundreds and hundreds of good stuff. So kudos to you. And everybody, I think, is going to be lucky to watch your career and to watch your contributions to the world because the world needs more of Stephen Easters.
Oh man, I'm blushing now. Ooh. Thank you so very much, love.
Thank you.
I really just want to is a big hug to you for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate talking to you. You're amazing. And I really can't wait to see this movie.
Beautiful.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much.